Hi, and welcome to the Hofline, your online hotline direct line to the women-only attorneys at Hofheimer Family Law. My name is Katie Carter, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm an attorney with Hofheimer Family Law, a Virginia-based family law firm dedicated to representing women exclusively in divorce and support cases. I'm here today with Shira Harrell, who you've met before. She's the owner of the firm and a 20-plus year family law veteran, as well as Leah Nathan, a licensed psychologist and owner of the Mind Center. And we're here today to talk to you about something that we think is pretty exciting, specifically divorce coaching. Leah, you've worked as a divorce coach. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about divorce coaching, exactly what it is, what it looks like, and why it's so helpful for a woman going through a divorce?
Yeah, I can best define this using my clients' own words. They refer to divorce coaching as a secret sauce to get through such a mucky process with increased clarity and confidence. And what we all know is divorce is a very emotionally charged process. And then clients are expected to make all of these major life decisions. And we know that judgment can become clouded and stuff like that. So, a divorce coach is like a neutral thinking partner who can help a client to move through this process with ease. Some of the areas that we work on in divorce coaching, because it's very specific towards the process, it's things like co parenting. So a lot of clients are like, well, how do we structure this plan? Or how do I co parent with a difficult spouse? And what divorce coaching does is it generates a lot more creative solutions. Because I've had a client, for example, recently where she was just like, all right, well, maybe it's only week on, week off. And then I explained, like, well, you have different co-parenting models. Like there's a 2-2-5 model, there's a 2-2-3 model. She's just like, wait, what's that? So sometimes we get stuck in our own heads. But divorce coaching really gives a lot more strategies. Mediation prep is another part of divorce coaching. So we'll talk through, what does mediation look like? How can you prepare for that? What are some negotiation strategies or communication strategies to use during that process? Another big area is people who are divorcing a spouse with a difficult personality. So we've heard a lot about narcissistic traits, borderline, passive aggressive, conflict avoidant. And a lot of times when some clients don't even know that their spouse is like that, and sometimes having being able to name and label, and then they know what they're working with, has been extremely insightful. um, and then one of the other areas too, this will be my last point on what is divorce coaching, but it's how to have the talk with your spouse, how to tell the kids. And what we do in those sessions is we create a specific talking point script, and we'll role play it. And what we do know with role plays, that's actually a desensitization technique to help decrease anxiety so that by time clients have this conversation, they actually feel a little bit more confident. So in a nutshell, that's what divorce coaching is.
Yeah, it sounds like a really worthwhile process.
Mm.
Shira, I know that in your
Yes.
collaborative experience, you've worked a lot with divorce coaches. Can you tell me what that experience has been like and how it's impacted your clients? Like specifically, are there better outcomes in cases where divorce coaches are used?
Sure. And like you said, the majority of my experience with divorce coaches has been in collaborative practice, but I have had a handful of litigated cases where we've had a divorce coach come in or be retained by my client for help.
Hmm.
So, kind of to piggyback off of what Leah said, it's really this preparation. Whether you're in collaboration or litigation, there is going to be a point in time where you have to negotiate on some level with your spouse. And the thought of going through this very emotional experience and now I have to sit in a room with this person or I have to make these big major decisions, that's a very emotional process. So,
Yeah.
what I have found to be beneficial with the divorce coach is my client would meet with the divorce coach maybe the day before or 2 days before the meeting. And like Leah said, they'll role play because perhaps my client is concerned about a certain topic coming up, whatever that might be. And that might be a trigger point for my client. and how will she react in that moment. So she and the divorce coach will role play that. And by having this preparation, the client becomes a lot more comfortable with this process. And when you're, in order to have the greatest chance of success at settlement, you need to be as prepared as possible, both emotionally, legal strategy wise, in all aspects. So divorce coaching can really help that emotional piece. I have always said that the number one reason why settlements fail is because people let their emotions get the better of their judgment. Divorce coaching can really help with that, and I've seen that work quite well. I think really anybody can benefit
Yeah.
from divorce coaching. And like Leah said, I think it depends on
Yeah.
the level of discord between the parties. If they can get along fairly well, maybe one session is enough with a divorce coach, because more likely than not, this is your first divorce and you've never experienced what a
Hmm.
mediation or a settlement conference or that type of process is. And it's nice to talk with someone who can give you some good tips and
Hmm.
strategies to how to deal with the stress. I always describe settlement conferences as really two emotions. You have pressure cooker moments when you have to make really big decisions. And that's where the preparation really comes in. Prep with a divorce coach, prep with your attorney to know how to make these big decisions. And then there are also times of complete and utter boredom. And those times are when the
Yeah.
other side are mulling over proposals or formulating a counter proposal, and we have to wait for them to come back to us with that
Yeah.
proposal. So you have this balance of very harsh emotions on either side, and even just waiting for the counter proposal, if you wait a long period of time, that's stressful. So
Yeah.
to help manage that anxiety, really, it's good for anybody, because this is, it's a tough process. But like I said, the better prepared you are, the more likelihood you have of resolving it successfully.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I've found to be most universal in my cases is that there's just the sense of shame surrounding a divorce. And
Mhm.
that I think dealing more effectively with those feelings and having a more positive and empowering mindset about it, because at the end of the day, there's no reward for staying. I mean, I think the truly tragic situation are the people who stay married forever and then look back and think, like, what for? What for? Like,
Mhm.
if it wasn't a mutually beneficial relationship, if you weren't satisfied and fulfilled and, not abused and things like that, then like what's the point of marriage, and what are you staying for if it's not serving you, if it's not, fulfilling you, if it's not helping your children, if it's not creating like this harmonious environment. So
Right.
I think divorce coaching could help in a lot of ways, in like, helping to empower women and seeing this as, a strategic choice, to move life
Right.
forward in a more positive way than it has been in the past. But I haven't personally had any clients who've met with divorce coaches. I'm not collaboratively trained. I don't take collaborative cases. So, I mean, I would think that if I suggested it to my clients, probably one of their biggest objections would be cost, like specific, like where do I find a divorce coach and how much is this going to cost me on top of already paying for a
Mhm.
divorce? So I'm curious what you would say, Leah, to the woman whose objection was related to cost, and like what's the return on investment there, and what can you
Mhm.
what can you expect?
Right. So I would first say in any given moment you have choices, right?
Yeah.
And there is a choice to go through this process feeling uncertain, fearful, doubtful, stressed, or you have an alternate choice to have a divorce coach who could basically equip you with all the cheat sheet, the strategies. You could unpack some heavy emotions like, Katie, you mentioned shame. Just clients are able to unpack like some of those big heavy emotions and get to the confidence level that they need.
Mhm.
So I would actually reframe the whole word cost to investment, because
Mhm.
this is ultimately an investment not only to get you through the divorce process, but also to settle into your post-divorce life as well. And earlier, Shara had mentioned like you could even do one session. There are clients who I had a client recently who she was preparing for mediation and didn't have the financial resources. And She was like, you know what, Leah, can I just schedule 4 sessions with you? And we mapped out how we were going to use those 4 sessions to prep for mediation.
Yeah.
And it was real, those 4 sessions were incredibly helpful for her. And so online traditional therapy, there's a lot of flexibility. So clients can, if they choose to come weekly, that's okay. They could do bi-weekly, monthly, as needed. But I think the cost of being unprepared is
Mhm.
significantly greater than making the investment in a divorce coach.
Yeah, and definitely really, really good. But we've certainly
Right.
seen that firsthand in our own cases, the women who are, struggling the most with just the concept of divorce and
It's
aren't
hard.
able, yeah, aren't
Yeah,
able to
it
see,
is.
yeah, the pieces that make up the divorce that we really need them to make a decision on, but they're struggling more with like the bigger idea, and then that can ultimately hold
Right.
them back. I mean,
Right.
I've said it
Right.
a million times too, but I think you said it really well, Leah. Just the goal is not just, I mean, we want to get you divorced today, obviously. That's like the main goal, but also to set you up for a position in your future where you can, build a happily ever after that maybe looked a little bit different than you envisioned on the day of your wedding, but is no less important, maybe even more important as you've grown and matured and realized what things are non-negotiables for you in your own life. But it sounds like,
Right.
I think you said it the best too at the top of the call, where you were differentiating between the therapy and the coaching sessions, and how therapy can be designed more to kind of help you work through and give you coping mechanisms, and divorce coaching is more tactical and more geared towards helping you prepare for some of the things that are stressful, like sitting
Hmm.
across from your husband at counsel table at the divorce trial, or dealing with discovery, with interrogatories, with settlement conferences and mediation, and some of those things that are just really intimidating, especially as a person who hasn't been through this before. And most of our clients haven't been through it before. And even if they have been divorced, one divorce isn't necessarily the same as the next. And you may have different
Right.
pieces. The law may have changed. There may be things that are like extra anxiety provoking at this stage that you haven't experienced before. And having the tools and techniques to help deal with them in an effective way as possible is probably one of the most investments you can give yourself for both now and in the future.
Yeah.
Right. And one thing I want to add to that, just because we haven't talked about it specifically, I think divorce coaching would help so much, would help a client tremendously before a deposition, before a temporary support hearing,
Yeah.
because we're really trying to explain the benefit in the litigation process. Being deposed, that's very stressful, to be
Yes.
asked questions by your husband's attorney. And in order to have the best mindset and the clearest thinking
Yeah.
that you can, once you're prepped by your attorney, I think a divorce coach can really help you, help a client through that emotion and the process of a temporary support hearing, having to testify before a judge, all these events that may or may not happen in your case. I think a divorce coach could really be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I think this was really helpful. And like Leah said, we're definitely here to help any of our clients. And looking forward to launching a new program. I think that's going to help clients in these kinds of situations moving forward. Thank you guys so much for coming and talking to us about the advantages of divorce coaching and how it can work to help clients in their cases. Again, we've got Shira Harrell, owner of the firm, Leah Nathan, a licensed psychologist and owner of the Mind Center, here with us today. And also, if you need any more information about your divorce or custody case, visit our website at hoflaw.com. That's HOFLAW.com. We've got a number of books, free reports, blogs, articles, and other resources that can help you on your divorce journey. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.